everyone, and welcome back. It's time for the MyZone online school. My name is Maricel Stoffberg, and today we are going to be learning so much new fun things. I'm so excited, but before I get too excited, please remember to always sanitize, because safety first. So we make sure that we get the sanitizer everywhere between our fingers and the silly thumbs. So please remember that for this week, we are trying to not touch our faces. So always keep that in mind. When the hand goes, take it back. It's not supposed to touch your face. So now we are going to be checking in with our pre-primary and grade 1 learners for week 2, lesson 5.
Explanation of symbols on worksheets are as follows. Use coloring crayons to color the picture. Use your finger to follow the track or line or show the correct picture. Use a coloring crayon to draw a line or write a number or sound. Look at the picture and say the number or sound out loud. Use a scissors to cut on the dotted line. Look at the picture. Use these symbols for the lesson of the day, which will be allocated at the top right side of each page. For example, lesson 1. Prepositions and directions.
Good day, welcome to MyZone online school. My name is Priska Ogas. Before we go on to the next topic, I want us to remember what we did in the previous lesson. We talked about the letter M and we learned about the pattern, the handwriting, writing and tracing on the dotted lines. But before we go on to our next lesson, I want us to sanitize our hands. And remember always to avoid touching your face, your eyes, your nose and your mouth. Make sure your hands are dry. Now let's go on to our next lesson of the day. I hope you are ready for our next lesson, and this lesson is all about our emotions and it's on page 22. Can you all go to page 22? It's all about our emotions, and I'm going to talk a bit about our emotions. We have the boy that is happy, and we have the mommy that is surprised, and we have the boy that is sad. And then we have the girl that is excited and screaming. So now what we have to do is we have to match the same emotions to the emotions on our left side. We have to do this together. I hope you are having your pencils and your crayons ready. Now I will invite our friend Noah to come and do this exercise with us. Can you match the same emotions? You have to match the same emotions, the same faces. You are getting there, Noah. Same emotions. If it's a happy face, then the happy face, you match it to the other. If it's a sad one, then you match the sad one to the other sad face at the other column. Where do you think should this one go? Are you sure, Noah? to a happy face. Okay, and this face, where do you think should it go? Yes. Can you draw a line to that? I hope you are doing your work. And the sad face, where do you think the sad face should go? Can you look nicely? Is this a sad face? Then you should draw the line to the sad face, from this one to that one. Is this a sad face? Yes. Can you draw the line? And the excited face, where do you think should it go? Yes, you are right. I hope you are doing the same thing as he is doing. Wow, well done. I hope you have to look properly to see which faces matches the others. Now we are going to do a fun activity using our scissors, and we need mommy and daddy to supervise you on this activity. I'm sure you are ready for this fun activity. You need to have your scissor, and you need mommy or daddy to be present while you are doing this exercise. You need to have a scissor, and then you go to page 23. Can you go to page 23? You will see the different body parts of the boy. Can you see the different parts? Now you take your scissor and you cut on the dotted lines. Cut on the dotted lines. You can cut out the head like I've done here. I've cut out the head. Then you cut out the body like I've done here, the body. And the arms, you cut out the arms. And the legs, you cut out the legs like I've done here. And the pants for the boy. Then you go to the next page, on page 25, and you paste it inside that frame. Can you see the frame on page 25? Now you get your glue and you paste it in the correct place on this page. Can you do that? Can mommy and daddy help you? Okay, once you've done that, then we go to the next page, page 27. Go to page 27. We have a picture of body parts of a girl. You do the same you did with the boy. You cut out the different body parts like I've done here. I've cut out the head. I've cut out the legs for the girl. I've cut out her shirt. And I've cut out the arms. Have you done it? Ask mommy to help you because you are using a scissor. Now then, when you have done with that, you go to the next page, which is page 29, and you paste it accordingly inside the frame of the girl. Paste it using your glue. Yes, I'm sure you've done a great job. I'm sure you enjoyed your previous lesson of cutting and pasting different body parts with mommy and daddy. But I still have a more exciting lesson for you. Can you turn to page 30? Turn to page 30 and you will see the big circle over there. Now what I want you to do is, I want you to draw how you felt throughout this lesson. Were you excited? Were you happy? Or were you sad during this lesson? I want you to draw your face in that big circle while I ask Noah to draw for us on the board how he felt throughout this lesson. Wow, I can already see that it's a happy face, and that means he was very happy throughout this lesson. Wow, an excellent job, Noah. Now, before we close off, I want us to remember that we always have to sanitize our hands at all times. And remember to avoid touching your face, your nose, your eyes, your mouth. Avoid touching them. And always remember to wash your hands with soap and running water if you don't have any sanitizer. Now I will invite our friend Zosha to come and say bye-bye together with us. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, I'm Shashi. And Simon says don't touch your face, your eyes, your nose, and your mouth unless your hands are super clean. Bye!
Emotions are everywhere with that exciting lesson with Teacher Priska. So please remember, whether you're happy or sad or angry, when you learn, everything is better. So now we are going to be checking in with our grade 2 and 3 learners for week 2, lesson 5.
Good morning, learners. What time did you wake up today? All right, I hope you have washed your face and brushed your teeth. Welcome to MyZone Online School. My name is Teacher Mudabeti, and here with my friend Landre. Our theme for this week is summer. Before I introduce the new topic which we are going to deal with today, let us sanitize our hands. There we go. Rub it in, rub it out nicely and through the fingers. There, you got it. Our topic for today is going to be based on the shapes and time. Good morning, learners. Okay, we have learned about the punctuations, remember, the capital letters and the full stops. Now we are going to read the story about Mary. In this story, there are some capital letters and there are some full stops. Now, I would like you to identify them, and then you have to follow the instructions of what you should do to them. With the capital letters and the full stops, you have to circle them out. I would like to see whether you still remember what is a capital letter and what is a full stop. Now, I'm going to read to you the story. Mary's story. Father, Charles, Lucy and I went to the beach yesterday. We took our dinner and stayed all day. Father and Charles went out a little way from the shore in a boat and fished, while Lucy and I gathered sea mosses. We took off our shoes and stockings and waded into the shallow water. We found such beautiful seaweeds. Some were purple, some pink, and some brown. When they were spread out in the water, the purple ones looked like plums, and the brown ones looked like trees. Such a funny thing happened to Lucy. She slipped on a stone, and down she went into the water. How we both laughed, but the wind and sun soon dried Lucy's dress. That was the story about Mary and Lucy when they went to the beach. Now, it's just to circle the capital letters all the words which are starting with a capital letter, circle with a capital letter, and the full stops. Okay, now we'll continue. Let us proceed to page 29 for both the grade 2 and grade 3. That was wonderful. It's easy exercise. Let's come to page 29. I'm sure you still remember about the shapes that we did. Now, when we check there on page 29, we will see ourselves there, the picture of my body. But my body is full of all sorts of shapes. So, we'll see if you can still remember the names of the shapes that we have learned. We are going to count the amount of shapes to complete the sentences. You have to count the shapes. If you don't remember the shapes, then you will not know which one to count and which one to put where. But then if you still remember, can we remind ourselves what shapes do we have? We have got circles, we have got rectangles, squares, triangles. All those are shapes which are full on my body. So now, if you are able to identify the circle, you will count them properly and you will put the correct number there on the line. So let's start with my heart. I have a head there on top on my head. That is where my head comes on. I put it on. Now check there. So on my head are full of circles. How many circles are there? Are you able to count? Remember, we have learned about counting many times. Now count them quickly, as quick as possible, and put it there. And the rectangles, how many rectangles? Do you still remember what is a rectangle? Do you still remember how it looks like? Okay, so identify it and count how many they are there, and then you fill it on the line. How many squares? You remember the square? How does it look like? Please count them and put them. And the triangles as well. On my face, how many circles, how many triangles, and how many squares are there in my face? Now check my arms. What shape are my arms? What shape is my body? What shape are my legs? What shape are my feet? Just check those shapes and you will be able to write the correct answers. Thank you, learners. Learners, now let's turn to page 30. I hope you have now checked and you have seen what we are going to do today. Now, before we start with our new lesson of today, I would like to introduce my new friend who is going to help me to do the lesson of today. Can you please say hi to her? Hi. All right. Okay, today's lesson is going to be about time. We are going to look at the clock. All right. We are going to see and we are going to learn how to tell time, AM and PM. What is AM? AM is when it is in the morning up to 12, from 12 to sunset, and when we are sleeping we say it's PM. PM is in the night. Okay, so I'm going to show you a lot of things. You always wonder when mommy says it's time to go to school, it's time to eat lunch now. We wonder, what is she talking about? Look at the time, we are late, it's past, it's 7 o'clock, and we don't know. And many times in our houses, we have clocks. We have this type of clocks in our houses, but we do not know what time it is even when we look at it. So today I'm going to show you. Why do they say o'clock? Why do they say past? Why do they say quarter past? Why do they say quarter to? Okay, so now on a clock we have got two hands. There is the long one and there is a short hand. Just check there. It looks like mine here. I'm going to use this one because I can move the hands to show you what I mean when I say past, when I say o'clock or quarter past or quarter to. Okay, so the long hand is for the minutes and the short hand is for the hours. Now, In a clock, when you check on your clock there, in your book, it's a round thing. Now, our hands will always move in the same direction all the time. They will move from there, they will go all around until the top there. Okay, so the long hand, which is for the minute, always moves faster than the short hand. So, whenever the long hand completes the cycle, the short hand will have to move from the number where it is to the next number. Are we together? Okay, I hope you are still with me. Now, when we say o'clock, means that the long hand should be at 12. When the long hand is at 12, when that long hand has moved to 12, we say o'clock. O'clock of what? Wherever the short hand is pointing, then we say that is the time. Now, can you tell me, if my short hand now is on 7 and the long hand is at 12, that is o'clock. What o'clock is it? That is 7 o'clock. Thank you. Same applies. If I move my short hand to 3 or to 4, let me say 4, the long hand is at 12. What time is that? 4 o'clock. Thank you. That is wonderful. Okay, the short hand and the long hand can be together on the 12. What do you think would that be? What time would that be? 12 o'clock. Yes, my friend is really helping me. Are you getting it right? That is wonderful. Now we shall move to half past. Half past. We are late. It's 7:30. We are late. It's 1:30. We have to go to bed. We have to bath. You don't know what is half past? So, what is now half past? Now, half past, you see the circle? This is a complete circle. When we cut this circle on the middle here, this will be a half and that will be a half. Therefore, when the long hand is now pointing at exactly 6 like this to cut the circle in the middle, we say it's half past. All right, are you still with me? That is half past. Okay, now let me show you an example. My long hand is now at 6. And my short hand perhaps is at between the 7 and the 8. Just between there. And the long one is at 6. Remember, it's half past. But half past what? So now we check. Remember the clock? It's moving from here in this way. It does not move backward. So we go that way. Meaning this time will be half past what? This will be half past 7. Thank you. Give yourselves a hand. That is wonderful. You are doing it well. That will be half past 7 because we are in the middle. We are about to go to 8, but we are not yet there. We are halfway. So half past 7. That is wonderful. Let me give you another example of the half past again. Okay, perhaps now it is here and it is between what and what? 12 and 1. So, what time would that be? Half past 12. That's wonderful. Remember, the clock goes that way. So, we say it's half past 12 because it has passed the 12. It's in the middle. We are about to go to 1 o'clock. That is wonderful. Okay, did you get that one? Please just remember when it is at 6. It's a half. Now, let me take you again to the quarter past. Okay, it's quarter past 1, it's quarter past 2, it's quarter past 7. You wonder, what is quarter past? All right, we still have our circle, we have our clock. Now we said when we cut it in the middle here, it's a half. So what do you think a quarter past will be and a quarter to will be? Now, when we cut this circle again like this, we are going to have our 4 parts. Now we have cut it in the middle, half. We are now going to cut it this way. So we have 4 parts. Now, if the long hand, remember we must always use our long hand first. If our long hand is pointing at 3, remember we have cut it this way now. So we cut it on the 3, nicely straight to a 9. Now, if the long hand is pointing at a 3, the long hand pointing at a 3, now we say what? That is what we call quarter past. This is what we call quarter past because we are coming down this way, remember? That will be quarter past on the 3. And we go, when it's here, it's half past. When we are at the 9, it's quarter to. We are left with only 15 minutes to go to the o'clock. Quarter past means 15 minutes past. Then, all right, we say 15 minutes because remember what I told you. When we complete the circle, the minutes will be counting, and up to there it would have counted 60 minutes. So if it has counted only from 12 up to this 3 here, it has counted 15. When it is counted up to here on the 6, it will have counted 30. So 30 is a half of a 60. That's why we say half past. There it's a quarter. But then when it has counted up to the 9, we say quarter to because we are only left with 15 minutes to go to the o'clock. All right. So now let's come to the examples. Now, would you tell me what time would this be then? It is now on the 3 and the shorthand, it can be on the 10. So what time would that be? The shorthand is on the 10 and the long hand is on the 3. Can my friend help me? Quarter past 10. That is wonderful. Thank you. Did you get it there? I hope you did. Whenever it is on 3, we say quarter past. Now I'm bringing it closer. Maybe it is on the 2 and then the long one is on the 3. We say quarter past 2. Thank you very much. Now let's try quarter to. Let's try quarter to. The long hand is on the 9. Remember, we cut the circle this way. Okay, the long hand is on the 9 and the short hand is not on the 7 and is not yet on the 8. But it's almost getting to the 8. It's somewhere there. But the long one is at 9. What do you think that time will be?
Quarter past 9.
Okay, but then we are not going to say quarter past. Remember, the past will be that side. And when it's on the 9, I said it will be quarter to. Because we are now going to go to a o'clock when it's on the 12. So we are going to say quarter to 8. We are approaching the 8. Little by little, we will be at 8 o'clock. Because when the long one will come to 9 there, then the short hand will be now at 8 and we will say 8 o'clock. So that is the time. So now I hope you have learned how to tell the time. Now we are going to go back to our clocks, which are on page 30, and let's try the first one. You are going to draw for me the hand to show me the 8 a.m. But before I do that, let me tell you something. We always have the a.m. and the p.m. So when you hear people are saying it's 13 hours, what do you think they mean? 13 hours, it's at the p.m. Are we together? So 13 hours, they just mean 1 o'clock. Remember, this is 12 o'clock. If you were to say it's in the p.m. and you don't want to use the 1 anymore, you say from 12 we go to 13 hours, 14 hours, 15 hours, 16 hours, 17 hours, 18 hours, 19 hours, 20 hours, 21 hours, 22 hours, 23 hours, and 24 hours. It's in the middle of the night and we are fast asleep. So that is what they mean. Are we together? So when they say 13 hours, don't be surprised. Just continue from the 12 to the 1, you say 13 hours because now it will be p.m. Remember, p.m. is in the afternoon and in the night. Are we together? I think you have got it this time. All right, now let's go to our page 30 and check if we can do these clocks which are here. The first clock there, I would like you to draw for me the hands. Show me the hands, the long hand and the short hand. Where will they point? If it's 8 o'clock, but AM means it's in the morning, so you must show me where the long hand will point and where the short hand will point. Can you tell me where it will point when we say 8 o'clock? All right, so the long hand will point where? At the 12. Thank you. And the short hand will point where? At the 8. Very good. It will point at the 8. Then we say it's our o'clock. And then now the second clock there, you must tell me what time is that. The long hand is on 12 and the short hand is on 6. Remember something. The numbers must be in your head. Not all the clocks will have numbers like this one. Some clocks will just be drawn circles, but the clock itself, all of this must just be in your mind when you see it. Even if there are no numbers, you must know that a 6 should be down, a 12 should be up. Are we together? That is another thing that you must pay attention to. So tell me also, the long hand now is on 6 and the short hand is on 4. What time is that? And you continue with the other ones. You draw for me the hands. And on the second activity, you are going to tell me again, what time is this? All the clocks, you must now tell me what time are they showing. Remember, 1/2 on the 6, the long hand. O'clock is on the 12, the long hand. 1/4 is on the 3. And 1/4 is on the 9. That is wonderful. Okay, now what should you do? We have come to the end of our lesson. I would like to remind you of what things you must do and what things you mustn't do when you are at home. You must not touch your face unless if your hands are very, very clean. Don't touch your nose, don't touch your eyes, don't touch your mouth unless if you have washed your hands nicely and you are very sure that they are clean. So what should I do then? You must do what? You must use the handy sanitizer. Can we show you with my friend how to use it? Spray nicely there and rub it in. Rub out, rub nicely, and between the fingers. That is wonderful. That is wonderful. There you go. But you must remember to do your work and you must play, be active so that you are fit. Now we are going to call our friend Zoshi to say goodbye.
Zoshi. And Simon says, don't touch your face, your eyes, your nose, and your mouth unless your hands are super clean. Bye!
What time is it? Education time! Thank you so much, Teacher Muda Betty, for teaching our grade 2 and 3 learners all about shapes and time. So now, grade 4, I hope you are ready because we will be doing week 1, lesson 2, science. So get ready!
A warm welcome to all the grade 4 learners watching. Welcome to MyZone Online School. My name is Stefanie Kotze and this is my friend that will be joining us today. But before we start with our lesson, let us sanitize. So this is very important. Everyone at home, quickly go and wash your hands. This is very important to sanitize. Okay, and remember social distance. Okay, good. So today's lesson is about health education and personal health. Okay, grade 4s. I hope you guys are ready with your workbooks near you. Okay, so in our previous science lesson, we talked about how your behavior can affect your personal health. And we also said that if one person in a family gets sick, that will affect the whole family. So you can open your workbooks on page 26. We are going to talk about number 1, identify foods that help to keep the body healthy. Okay, so let's start with the first one, vitamins. So vitamins is there to keep your body healthy and everything working properly. Vitamins also make your bones strong and keep your gums and teeth healthy. They also help you to grow and they protect us from getting sick. Okay, so this is why vitamins and minerals is so important, because they will prevent illness. But now guys, it is very important to remember that your body cannot make vitamins on its own. Okay, it cannot create it. We need to eat food that contains vitamins. So we find vitamins in a whole lot of different foods. The first one is fruits and vegetables. You can see it on the picture in your book as well. We also find vitamins in meat and in dairy products, such like milk and cheese. There is even one type of vitamin, vitamin D, that we get from the sun. And I think that is pretty cool. So the second one is protein. Proteins build up your muscles. So this one is specifically for the boys. I know that you guys, you want to be strong like your fathers. Okay, so you need to get in a lot of proteins. Proteins also repair and replace muscles so that your body can keep on working. And another interesting thing about proteins is that they make red blood cells that carry oxygen around your body. They also fight diseases and heal cuts and wounds. So when you get a sports injury or any injury, then the proteins in your bloodstream will help your body to heal faster. We also need to get proteins from the food that we eat. So we can get proteins from a whole lot types of food. For example, from meat, we also get it from eggs, nuts, and dairy products. So let's move on to the third one, carbohydrates. So carbohydrates gives our bodies energy to do work, to play, and to do our schoolwork. But now it gets a little bit complicated, and you guys must remember that there are 2 types of carbohydrates, simple and complex. So simple carbohydrates, another word for it is sugars, and we get this from fruits. That is the healthy sugars, okay? We only get it from fruits. And also what is important to remember is that simple carbohydrates give us a fast supply of energy, okay? But we lose that energy just as fast. Let's move on to complex carbohydrates. We get it from starches, from foods such as corn, potatoes, and carrots. And what is important is that complex carbohydrates gives our body's energy more slowly, but it lasts longer. Let's move on to the last one, fats. Okay, so fats is actually very important. It is our body's reserve tank of energy and it protects our organs. It also acts as an insulation and it keeps our bodies warm. So this is important for the girls now, because I know that you guys want nice shiny hair. Okay, so that is what fats also do. They keep our skin and our hair healthy. But with fats, it is very important to maintain a balance, because too much fats can cause you to become overweight, and that is not what we want. Okay, that contains a whole lot of other health issues. Foods containing healthy fats will be something like avocados, salmon, sunflower seeds, and flax seeds. Grade 4s, I hope you are still with me. Are you still with me?
Okay, good. Let's continue with number 2, describe ways how to promote your personal health. So you can take a look on page 26 as well. So let's start with the first one, keep your environment clean. And remember you guys, in the previous lesson, we said that germs grow and flourish in a dirty environment. And that is why we need to keep our environments clean. Another reason is that mosquitoes breed in standing water that collects in rubbish dumps. Okay, and in malaria areas, this can cause a lot of illness. And if something as keeping your environment clean can prevent this serious illness, it is something we really need to do. The second part is we need to exercise regularly. Exercise helps you to develop a healthy heart and strong muscles. And when you develop a healthy heart and strong muscles, then you won't get sick so easily. So this is very important. And even exercising for 30 minutes per day can develop a healthy heart and strong muscles. So even if you don't have a lot of time during the day and you only can exercise for 20 to 30 minutes, that will be enough. The third picture that you can take a look at is get enough sleep. So the thing is, when we sleep, our bodies rest and heals itself. This is why when you get a cold or a flu, your mom is going to tell you, go get into bed until you are healthy. Okay, so and another thing that is quite cool is that we actually grow in our sleep. So that is why sleep is so important. The fourth one is eat healthy food, eat nutritious food. Okay, we spoke about a balanced diet earlier as well. You need to eat the correct amount of all of the different types of food. Remember, we spoke about proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and vitamins. The last picture, you can see that boy is washing his hands. Okay, so wash your hands after using the toilet. So when you use the toilet, you get germs on your hands. And when you don't wash your hands, you will transfer the germs to anybody that you play with during break time, or when you shake hands with somebody, or something like that. And germs can cause us to become sick, so we don't want to spread germs. But this also includes personal hygiene, like washing your bed linen often and keeping your room clean. Okay, and it is very important, you guys, to help around the house as well. Help your parents to keep the home clean. So let us turn to page 27 in our workbooks. You can take a look with me at activity 1. Okay, so it says match each food type with a correct example. So all you have to do is take a ruler and a pencil or a pen in your hand and then draw a line from the word to the right picture. Okay, so what word do you think fits with each of the pictures? So you guys can do that. And then also activity 2. Describe 3 ways how to promote personal health. And remember, we talked about this, so I am sure that you will be able to do this. But don't stress, the memorandum is on the next page, on page 28. Okay, but please try to do it on your own before you take a look at the memorandum. Before we finish with today's lesson, let us quickly sanitize again. So this is very important. Okay. Let's spray it on our hands. Rub it all over your hands. Okay, grade 4s, remember social distance. It is very important. Thank you for joining me for today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, I'm Joshi. And make sure to always make a helicopter circle, stretching your arms out and spinning around like me. And make sure you're not touching anyone while doing this. Goodbye!
Thank you, Teacher Kotze. What an exciting lesson. So now I hope you are ready. We are now going over to our grade 4 and 5 learners for week 1, lesson 2, math with teacher Diergaard.
Good morning, Namibia. Welcome back to MyZone Online School. I'm Mr. Sean Diergaard, and my special friend is back today as well again. Before we can start with our lesson, my friend, let's sanitize. We spray on our hands. Kids at home, please use your sanitizer. We have our mask on, and then we see social distance. Let's spread out. Spread, spread, spread. Yes. Now we have our social distance. Today's topic is expanded notation and rounding off. Okay, kids, let's start with expanded notation. But before we can start with expanded notation, let's first see what is expanded notation. And I hope you have your booklets in front of you. And we look on page 22. Now let's read. What is expanded notation? Expanded notation is also known as decomposition of numbers or breaking up numbers when you're writing numbers in expanded notation. Here we write each digit according to its value. Remember with our first lesson, we talked about place value and we talked about value. Now, in decomposition or expanded notation of numbers, we write numbers according to their values. Now, if we go to the board, let's try the first 2 examples. Let's go to our chalkboard. Here we have 621. Now, this is the number. Now they want us to write that number in expanded notation. So we're going to break up the numbers according to their values. My friend, you have got your book in front of you. Are you ready? Let's start. The first number we're going to write in its value is the 6. Now we need to find out what is the value of the 6. Going back to place value, we know the 1 is a unit, the 2 is a 10, and the 6 is a 100. And according to the place value, that 6 value is 600. So we write 600 plus. What is the value of the 2? The 2 is in the place of the 10, and that means the value is 20. Plus the value of the 1. The 1 is a place of the units, and that gives it a value of 1. Now that's one way of writing expanded notation. Are we together, my friend? That's one way of writing expanded notation. 600 plus 20 plus 1. But there's also another way where we use multiplication. So let's see how that way works. We have 6 times 100. And we all know 6 times 100 equals 600. Plus 2 times 10, and we know 2 times 10 equals 20, plus 1 times 1, and 1 times 1 equals 1. So that is 2 ways how we can write numbers in expanded notation. Let's try our second example. 5,087. Are you following? 5,087. Let's write it. What is the first number? The first number is the 5. What is the value of the 5? According to our place value, we know the 5 is in the place of 1,000, and that gives it a value of 5,000. Plus, we don't have any hundreds, so we write 100. Then we go over to the 8. What is the value of the 8? The 8 is in the place of the 10, and that gives it a value of 80. Plus, What is the value of the 7? The value of the 7 is 7 because it's in the place of the 7. So 5,087 is written as 5,000 plus 0 to show that we've got no hundreds, plus 80 plus 7. Now let's try it with the multiplication. 5 times 1,000, that is equal to 5,000. Plus, we just write 0 to indicate that there's no hundreds. Plus 8 times 10, that is equal to 80. And then lastly, we have 7 times 1, which is equal to 7. Now going back to our book, we will see there are lots more examples. Let's see number 3. 23,678. That is equal to 20,000 plus 3,000 plus 600 plus 7 plus 8. Or if we use the multiplication, it's 2 times 10,000 plus 3 times 1,000 plus 6 times 100 plus 7 times 10 plus 8 times 1. Then we've got one more example, 89,704. It's quite a big number. If you write it in expanded notation, the value is 80,000 plus 9,000 plus 7,000 plus 0 plus 4. And if we use the multiplication part, then we say 8 times 10,000, which is equal to 80,000 plus 9 times 1,000, which is equal to 9,000 plus 7 times 100, which is equal to 700 plus 0 times 10, which is equal to 0, and 4 times 1, which is equal to 4. So this is where they give us the number and they want us to write it in expanded notation. Now let's see. They also say expressing numbers written in expanded notation as ordinary numbers. Now sometimes a number is already written in expanded notation form, and then we should write it as an ordinary number. When writing a number in expanded notation form as an ordinary number, we just add the different values together to give us one number. Now let's go into our books on page 23. Here we've got a few examples. Now we see here they already gave us the expanded notation part. Here they already broke up the numbers. 600 plus 50 plus 8. Now they just want it as one number. So what I do is I add 600 plus 50 plus 8, and that is equal to 658. Number 2, 7,000 plus 500 plus 60 plus 3. If we add it together, it will give us 7,563. My friend, are we still enjoying this lesson? Yes, she's enjoying it so much, and I hope you guys at home is also enjoying it. Let's go over to number 3. Now we see number 3 is written a little bit differently. Here it's 90 plus 80,000 plus 2 plus 7,000 plus 600. Now here we see when they wrote the expanded notation, they mixed it all up. They didn't write it according to the real values. They mixed up the values. So what we need to do first, we need to first arrange them in the correct order, and then we can add them together. So we're going to arrange them from the smallest number to the biggest. So our first big number is 80,000 plus 700 plus 600 plus 90 plus 2. And if we add it together, that gives me 87,692. Remember, we first arranged from the biggest value to the smallest value, and then we added together. Number 4, 50 plus 9 plus 200 plus 60,000 plus 1,000. Remember, we first need to arrange them in the correct order, and then only we can add. So we add them from the biggest value to the smallest. So let's arrange. We will get 60,000 plus 1,000 plus 200 plus 50 plus 9. And if we add it together, that gives us 61,259. So remember, even although they mixed it up, firstly, just arrange it from the biggest value to the smallest value, and then we add it together. So that is what expanded notation is. Okay, kids, we're still busy on page 23 with rounding of numbers. Now, in rounding off, there's certain rules we need to follow. Let's look at the rules of rounding off. When we round off numbers, we look at two different place values. We look at the number that must be rounded off, and we look at the number just behind it. A number can only become bigger if the other number is 5 and more. If the other number is 4 or less, the rounding of number stays the same. Let's read that rule again. Me and my friend, we're also reading. When we round off numbers, we look at two different place values. We look at the number that must be rounded off and the number just behind it. A number can only become bigger if the other number is 5 and more. If the number is 4 or less, the rounding of number stays the same. Now let's go over to rounding off to the nearest 10. Let's read. When rounding off to the nearest 10, we focus on the tens and the units. Why do we focus on the tens? Because the 10 is the one that will change. If the units are less than 5, the tens will stay the same. If the units are 5 or more, then the tens will become 1 bigger. So when we round off to the nearest 10, we find the 10, the number in the 10th place. That is the number that will either change or become 1 bigger. And we focus on the units. If the unit is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, the 10 will become 1 bigger. If the units are 4, 3, 2, 1, then the 10 will stay the same. Now let's look at the example. Rounding off to the nearest 10. I hope you still have your books in front of you. And then we read 58 rounded off to the nearest 10. Here we look at the units. The units is more than 5, so that allows the 10 to become 1 bigger. So if we go to our example, we will say our unit is an 8. 8 is bigger than 5, and that allows the 5 to become 6, and 58 rounded off to the nearest 10 becomes 60. Example 2. 5,684 rounded off to the nearest 10. We first need to find the number in the 10th place, that is the 8. So we will focus on the 8 and we will focus on the 4. Then we read in brackets, the unit is less than 5, so the 10 stays the same, meaning the unit cannot change the 8. So the 8 will stay the same, and 5,684 rounded off to the nearest 10 becomes 5,680. Now we turn to page 24 of our book. My friend is also turning her page. Rounding off to the nearest 100. Let's read. When rounding off to the nearest 100, we focus on the hundreds and the tens. If the tens are less than 5, the hundreds will stay the same. If the tens are 5 or more, the hundreds will become 1 bigger. Let's see our examples. Rounding off to the nearest 100. 183 rounded off to the nearest 100. We find the 100, that is the number that will either become 1 bigger or stay the same. And we look at the 10. If the 10 is 5 and more, the 100 will become 1 bigger. So let's see. There they say, the 10s are more than 5, so that means the 100 becomes 1 bigger. So the 10 is an 8, which is more than 5, meaning that will change the 100 and the 100 becomes 2. So 183 is rounded off to the nearest 200. The second example, 45,740, rounded off to the nearest 100. Guys and girls, I hope we are still together. We find the number in the place of the 10 and the number in the place of the 100. Then we read, the 10 is less than 5, so the 100 stays the same. Our 10 is a 4, meaning it cannot change the 7, and 45,740 is rounded off to 45,700. Rounding off to the nearest 1,000. When we round off to the nearest 1,000, here we focus on the thousands and the hundreds. Now let's look at our first example. Rounding off to the nearest 1,000. 5,390. Let's read what it says in our brackets. The hundreds are less than 5, so the 1,000 stays the same. If we look at our example, we see our 100 is a 3, so it cannot change our 1,000. Our 1,000 stays the same, and that is rounded off to the nearest 5,000. 56,679, rounded off to the nearest 1,000. The hundreds are more than 5, that means the thousands becomes 1 bigger. Our 100 is a 6, and that means it can change our 1,000, and 56,679 rounded off to the nearest 1,000 becomes 57,000. And lastly, we have rounding off to the nearest 10,000. When we round off to the nearest 10,000, we focus on the 10,000 and the thousands. For example, rounding off to the nearest 10,000, 12,800 rounded off to the nearest 10,000. Let's read. The thousands are less than 5, so the 10,000 stays the same. My 1,000 is a 2. Are we together, my friend? We see the 1,000 is a 2, and that cannot change the 10,000. The 10,000 stays the same, and 12,800 rounded off to the nearest 10,000 becomes 10,000. Number 2, quite a big number. 78,978 rounded off to the nearest 10,000. Let's read what we said in brackets. The thousands are more than 5, so the 10,000s become 1 bigger. We find our 1,000, we see it is an 8, that is more than 5, and that can change my 10,000. So my 10,000 becomes 1 bigger, and when I round it off, then it becomes 80,000. Now, boys and girls, if we turn to page 25 of our book, we will see there's a really nice activity for you guys to do. The activity is based on expanded notation and rounding off. Number 1, write the number 3,582 in any form of expanded notation. Remember, we did 2 forms. Number 2, write the number 89,742 in any form of expanded notation. Number 3, write the expanded notation 700 plus 60 plus 5 as an ordinary number. Number 4, write the expanded notation below as an ordinary number. 6 times 1,000, 7 times 10, 5 times 10,000, 8 times 1,000, and 4 times 1. Then we have rounding off. Round off 52 to the nearest 10. Round off 8,574 to the nearest 100. Round off 9,200 to the nearest 1,000. And round off 29,337 to the nearest 10,000. Boys and girls, the memo is on the next page, but first try to do it on your own before you look at your answers. Now, this has brought us to the end of our lesson. So now me and my friend, we will sanitize again. And before we say goodbye to you, my friend, let's stand. Remember social distancing. We have our sanitizers. We spray it on our hands. I hope you also have got your sanitizers. We rub it in nicely. And once again, all Namibian kids, please stay safe, wear your mask, sanitize, and me and my friend, we will see you guys soon again. Goodbye.
Hi everyone, I'm Joshi. And make sure to always make a helicopter circle, stretching your arms out and spinning around like me. And make sure you're not touching anyone while doing this. Goodbye!
Thank you very much, Teacher Diergaard. So today we learned all about rounding off and notation. And before I'm rounding off, we're just going to look at an interview with my friend Elizabeth Joseph with one of our superstar teachers. So that's it. Please remember, stay safe and sanitize and don't touch your face. Until next time, bye.
There you have it. Thank you so much for joining us again. My name is Elizabeth Joseph and I am joined by another guest. And thank you so much for being in our presence. But first of all, before we get into anything, I would like us just to sanitize our hands, just to remain safe. And just remember as well, while you are about to get up and ready and busy again in our busy winter, please remember to wear a glove and as well to sanitize your hands constantly. Wash your hands and make sure that you remain safe. So let's get straight into it. I'm joined by another teacher and he's going to introduce himself and describe to us what the process has been like being here at NMH and helping us with our booklets. So sir, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us. Please introduce yourself to the viewers.
Thank you. My name is Mr. Vehana Kaurikomeho, a teacher by professional. I've been here now for a week and a half. Translating English to Oshiherero for pre-primary.
All right, awesome. So just tell me a bit about your process. Like, how has it been like? You guys come in early, and has it been hectic for you at all, or how has that experience been like for you?
The experience is good. Somehow it's hectic. We are trying to, we are not allowed to move freely, but we are managing. Waking up every day, we are not used to this. We have been resting for a while now. So it's a bit difficult waking up early, coming here, and you have to translate. Sometimes you don't know what you are coming here for. When you come here, you will be told to do this and this. So day by day, we are getting there.
All right, awesome. Also, just a last thing, what is some of the expectations that you have for this book? What do you want those kids that speak Oshiherero, what do you want them to be able to achieve after having completed maybe a booklet?
Okay, what I want them to achieve. I want them to achieve great. I know it's difficult to reach to all of them. This booklet can help them. Like this will be a lesson. It will be a lesson to them. Not necessarily that they have to be in class, but at least they can do something at home. Or maybe they will be watching TV. For example, the teacher will be teaching on TV and they're at home. Having that booklet in front of them, it can help them to do something instead of them sitting at home.
All right, thank you so much. That's it from us. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. And you too, viewers, please stay tuned for another teacher. Thank you.
Thank you.